Welcome everybody to the fourth and last training session of the year. This one is going to be focused on sustainability in the fashion tech. We have set up a huge pipeline of speakers and trainers for today. So make sure to be curious, pose questions to them, and be careful and listen to all the information that they will share with you today. Going back to the speakers, we have, as I was saying, quite important lineup. We have one academic professor from SUPSI, so Marcio Sorlini, Heinz Zeller from Hugo Boss, Coty Monique Geronimus from Calida, Antonio Puntello from Timex, and then we will close the session with Moreno Brugnotto from Brugnotto Group. But before kicking off the session, let me leave the floor to our president, Carlo Terreni, to welcome you all and introduce you to Dagorà.
Thank you. So thank you very much for the organization. So this is pretty much a bit our community, and that's really what we want to achieve, to get together different typology of professionals in the industry of lifestyle. Dagorà means agora, so from Greek square, place to meet, exchange, share. Did you guess that? Well done. And then D stays for digital, so the thematic around digital and innovation. And this is pretty much how we conceived the community on one side, but also the building itself. So it's a place to meet, exchange, and like today, learn from people that were at the university a few years ago. 10, 5. Perfect. So in which sector do we work, or where do we have our community activities? So obviously fashion and sportswear. How many fashion brands are operated or located in Ticino? One for sure. 100. Let's mention some of the names. 60, 70, that's pretty much what we usually say. Michael Kors, Philip Plain, Hugo Boss, Guess. Well, Timex is not exactly fashion, but let's say it's watch. Who do we forget? Tom Ford, Ferragamo, Zegna Group, La Martina, VF International, Papiri, Timber, Norsace, Asos, and so on. We could go for quite a lot of brands, which obviously this is also a component and why of the reason why there is a master in digital fashion communication in Ticino, which is in joint venture with La Sorbonne in Paris. So we wanted really to around this cluster, I guess the university wanted to offer talents trained for the future of the brands that are located here. So this is pretty much why we have also decided to have this hub mainly focused on fashion tech and sports tech. Well, we have all the building here, so at different floors we have different activity and different companies. At the very top we have Accenture. They have recruited 120 people 3 years ago. Many were also coming from USI and SUPSI. Tech company. Then we have the Switzerland Innovation Park Lifestyle Tech Competence Center, research center around the fashion and lifestyle, and many other companies that are working around the domain of fashion tech. So which are the stakeholders in our community? Brand retailers, manufacturer, service provider, investor, academia and students, institution and retailers. In the hub, we are collaborating strongly with the Canton scene, with InnoSwiss, so the Swiss Innovation Agency, and the city of Lugano, which are strategic partners for our hub. Some of our members, these are just an instruction. As you see, we kind of cluster them by industry, and at one point we decide to increase the number of activity in each industry in order to expand the value of being part. So for instance, well, of course we have a lot of companies in the fashion domain. We are growing a lot in travel. We just had Franco Rosso as a new member, lastminute.com as a new member. We will grow quite a lot in this space, and also, I mean, as you see, in many other segments. We are active all over Switzerland, so Ticino is our home, our house, our headquarters, if you want to say. We are a very small team, but still we are very active all over Switzerland. As you might see, almost once every 2 or 3 weeks, we are in a different canton with a different activity to really activate our community, and we have very often people that are coming with us from different regions in order really to value our activity. In Lausanne, we have a lot of activity around luxury. You know that in Lausanne or in Geneva, there is Richemont, Jaeger-LeCoultre, IVC, no, but a lot of art luxury companies, but also a lot of beauty companies like Valmont, like Puig. So it's really a strong cluster similar to the one we have here in Lugano on fashion. Over there is art luxury, hospitality, and beauty. So there is really a critical mass of companies around this domain. And on top, they also have very interesting university, for example, APFL, EHL, and so on, and AMD. Innovation Booster, how many of you has participated to the program already? 1, 2, 3, 4, well, wonderful. So we do have quite a lot. How many of you knows what is InnoSwiss? Few. So InnoSwiss is the Swiss innovation agency. They have a basket of investment of over 700 million they invest every year in Switzerland of activity, of financing activity of research and development with universities. So every year, almost, well, not 1 billion, but close to, on activity financing and supporting research projects. Many universities, especially Fachhochschule, they have to apply for project in order to be able to have a critical mass of resources in order to pay salaries and so on. So it's a very competitive market, also for scuole universitarie professionali. And I think this is also one of the reasons why we are, since many years, ranked on the top of the most innovative countries. This is not the only reason, but it's for sure one of the reasons. We applied, that was 3 years ago, to participate, thank you for the pictures, to participate to the one program which is called Innovation Booster to InnoSwiss. We luckily won, thanks to the support of the team, of many universities and so on. And what do we do with this program? We identify 2 areas of innovation and research every year. We publish them, we share them among the community, both university professors, researchers, and companies based in Switzerland. We launch a call for innovation. We get teams that are formed between university professors, researchers, and companies or association based in Switzerland. Then there is a jury. Some of you were in the jury. Heinz, for sure, you were in the jury. Just here, 2 weeks ago, we have awarded 5 projects, and to each of the projects we give them around 30,000 to test their idea. The very nice thing is that the most of these projects, they are solving a specific problem. In this case was around sustainability, and the people in the team, as mentioned, some professor, researcher, and people from company, they did not know each other before. So it is also a very good way to get together companies and universities to work together. It is possible for students to join the activity, but only together with a professor, because at the end we need to have a university involved. We are at our 4th call. These are all the partner and sponsor. I think we have also someone from Philip Lane today, if I'm not wrong. Thanks for the support. So these are the partner of the program, and next year we will launch it again. 50% of the program will be in Ticino, 50% will be hosted by a PFL in Lausanne. So we try even further to extend our collaboration among cantons. We have already awarded over 400K, not that much, not that small, so quite good to start. And we had received over 50 projects along the last 2 years. Couple of good news. One of the projects is actually a researcher at SUPSI, if I'm not wrong. They are all researchers at SUPSI. So Luca, the one on the left-hand side, was a researcher. Then he founded this company together with the other guys that also did SUPSI. They have participated to an Innovation Booster program, which they won actually 2 times. And recently, just 4 months ago, they set it up their company, and they just received 2.1 million fundraise from an investment fund in Zurich. So for us, we are super happy for them. We wish them all the best. They work in AI content production space. They have incorporated their company in Lugano. They got funds from Zurich, and they're currently recruiting and hiring people. So this is really what we would love to achieve even further. I'm getting late. Okay. Even further, with all the activity of the hub, this would be a lovely example. Voila. Thank you for being with us. Well, lovely. Thank you very much.
So it's now the moment to kick off the real training session. Please join me with applause in welcoming Marzio Sorlini from SUPSI.
Thank you.
I'm Marzio Sorlini. I'm Associate Professor of Industrial Sustainability at SUPSI, so here in Lugano, 15 minutes walking from here. Today I will address one of the most important topics that we are also addressing our projects, research projects in SUPSI, that is the role data have in sustainable transition, especially in manufacturing companies. I will try to wear the lens of the fashion industry, so I will try to give examples mainly coming from the fashion industry, and I also will try to focus on the DPP, so on the Digital Product Passport, asking and sharing with you some thoughts about the role the Digital Product Passport may play in this transition and is leveraging on data for supporting the sustainable transitions in manufacturing companies. But okay, let's start from the big picture. I will try to give some examples here. I put just 3 examples of news that you may have read in the last 4 or 5 years. What do they have in common, these events, major events? First of all, they are really local events, so something occurring in a small place, in a small point in the world, but with really huge global effects. So it means that the first issue they have in common that they are local, but with global impacts. These impacts are not only global, but even huge. So it means that they are required to divert thousands of ships, invest big amount of money in order to mitigate the consequences and so on. So local, but global, but local, but global, huge impact. Third issue, they were almost unpredictable. So all of them, almost unpredictable events. And the final issue they have in common is that almost nobody, no company having goods or materials over these ships already know that these events may affect their supply chains and their ability to produce. So they don't have data about supply chains, especially those that have long supply chains, extensive supply chains. I mentioned this Fashion Transparency Index. It is one of the indexes available for the fashion industry, addressing the visibility and the transparency over the supply chain of the fashion industry. It is managed by an association, a foundation, born after the Rana Plaza in events disaster in 2013. What do they monitor? They monitor the availability of data from the brands, major brands, especially fashion brands. They monitor 250 brands. They collect data about the visibility these brands have over their supply chains and the ability these brands have to disclose information about the supply chain. And the result is, why do they do this? Because they think that transparency, even if it is not equal to sustainability, is the first step towards sustainability. So if you are able to disclose your information, if you are able to monitor the performance of your supply chain or the information related to your supply chain, then you are in the first step towards sustainability. The second aspect, the second reason why they collect data about these brands is because if you disclose information from the supply chain, then you are accountable. So it's the first step, it's the second step, let's say, towards accountability. So giving responsibility to fashion brands. Which are the results? Every time, okay. Which are the results? Okay, let's look on the right side. 18% on average is the performance of the 250 fashion brands monitored by the Fashion Transparency Index last year, 2024. 18%, so it means 18 points over 100. And is it a good profile? Not that good, you can guess. And second issue is not important, it's not good even for sustainability, because if you look at the picture on the left, 96% of the impacts of the fashion industry come from scope 3, meaning from companies that are not the company that they are looking at, so not from the brands. So tier 1, even it is not that enough. So 9% of the impacts come from tier 1 suppliers. All the other impacts come from other suppliers coming upstream or downstream, not usually upstream in the supply chain. So if you don't collect data, you are not able to disclose the impacts your, even the environmental impacts your products have. So I created this kind of a maturity model where I placed, identified, let's say, five layers, 5 maturity levels for any company. So the first level is no data. So company, they don't collect data. Either they don't collect or they don't disclose data. Sometimes they have the data, but they are in the picture or among the companies that are addressed in the Greenpeace paper that you see on the right. So they have the data, but the performance is not good, so they don't want to disclose the picture related to the impacts they have. For several reasons, overproduction, underperformance in resource usage, or disposable consumption, or even social aspects related, for example, to labor practices, bad labor practices, especially for entire suppliers. What is the next in our vision? You collect data, but you have a scattered picture of what your supply chain is. So either because you don't have the data from all the entities in the supply chain, so you have blind spots. Usually these blind spots come from entities that are far away from you. So the entire suppliers, so the second tier suppliers and so on, that are really responsible for the impacts, the sustainability impacts of the company. And in some other cases, they have the data, but they are not comparable because they are not collected in a standardized way. So scattered data is not suitable to improve, let's say. The third level are companies collecting data only for reporting. And reporting means shaping a nice deliverable, let's say, or a nice balance or a nice document to share, for example, with the requiring companies or with the public entity. And if you collect data for reporting, usually you are spending much money. This nice paper you can see on the right, they say that usually sustainability reporting, the cost for sustainability reporting is now exceeding by 43% the cost for sustainability enhancing. That is really crazy because you are spending money just to report the data, your impacts, instead of using this money to improve your performance. That is the scope, the final scope that you usually have. Then you have some companies that, yes, they collect data, they have a good picture about the supply chain, and they are performing decisions. But sometimes and often, it happens that these data are average data. So on a yearly basis, you ask your suppliers what is the performance they have, which is the average energy that they consume for a given unitary product and so on. So these decisions are based on average data, and this means that you are not able to improve as much as you would like to do. Okay? Because what is the last step? This transformation. So it means that you collect data and you use them to improve your sustainability performance. In order to achieve, to feed the transformation layer, you need to collect data that are really batch-wise or really addressing the specific hotspots inside the supply chain, requiring specific information from all the entities in your supply and value chain. In that case, you are able to compare different alternatives, to compare different scenarios, and identify which is the best one. What is the role that DPP may have in this transition, in this maturity model. We can say that the DPP, the Digital Product Passport, was born for several reasons. Here are mapped only some of them, but as you can see, you see all the reasons I mentioned before. So, for example, highly globalized and fragmented supply chain that are usually opaque. Then you have limited access to reliable or standardized data, pressure from brands or even customers or legislation, and need for transparency and traceability. Which are the structural problems that the DPP wants to address? They want to use data in order to improve the management of the product throughout the supply chain. So, for example, activating circular economy approaches. If you don't know which are the chemicals that are being used in the production of the products, you actually are not, it is not possible for you to use this product for a second life. For example, we have examples that are not in the fashion industry, but for example, in the toys industry, we have one company we collaborate with. They wanted to use recycled plastics, but they were not able to do it because recycled plastics, when they buy it, they don't have any kind of certification of the chemicals that have been used in the first life of the plastic itself. So structural problems like that can be abated using the Digital Product Passport, because you have kind of a passport where all the steps and all the impacts from throughout the first, but also throughout the second life of a product are mapped and registered. Okay, it has been created inside one of the several legislations dealing with the Green Deal, okay, at the European level. And these legislation are targeting especially the improvement of the sustainability impacts of any kind of products throughout different sectors and industries. And they think that in order to achieve, the legislators think that in order to achieve a good performance from a sustainability point of view, you have also to leverage on circular economy practices. So in order to reduce the amount of raw materials that you use, in order to recycle or extend the lifespan of a given product as much as possible, in order to abate the impacts related to the extraction of materials and resources. The Digital Product Passport can be defined as a digital, and they say also interoperable, because it has to interact with different tools, IT tools and not IT tools, throughout the different stages of the life cycle, and goes together with the product through the different stages of the life in the production stages, but also in the usage stages. Which are the differences? I like to think about the DPP as kind of an hidden recorder you put in your pockets, let's say, and it registers the different impacts throughout the different stages of the life cycle. And when anybody in the value chain wants to listen to the registered recordings, it is possible to do it. So it is possible to access to the data throughout the different stages of the life cycle of the value chain of the product. What is the difference between the DPP and what is done so far? The DPP is an enabler for a product-specific or batch-specific sustainability labeling, sustainability profiling, while so far we are only working on averages, not only, but mainly working on averages on accounting. And after production, after the conclusion of a given stage, we have the data and we divide them for units. So in order to account what is the impacts of the specific products, we rely on average data. While with the DPP, we collect data directly from the specific product and the experience, let's say, the life of this specific product. Usually, thanks to the DPP, we will be able to rely on primary data, so primary data from the different stages of the product itself. It also is a good format to enable further analysis rather than being only compliant, so focused on reporting on the impacts that we register. Here you can see a eye picture of the data that are that we expect to be included in the digital product passport. And there you can see, okay, metadata, so descriptors, meta descriptors of the products, kind of materials used, circularity, reparability data, in order to be able in the later stages of the life cycle of the product to manage it properly in order to be to leverage on circular economy practices. Also performance and environmental attributes, energy consumption in the different stages, for example, any certifications of conformity, but also traceability, that is the register that you put in the pocket of the product. And is it different from available solutions in the market, or let's say other certifications or tools? Here I just mapped few of them. You know, there are thousands of possible labels or tools that you can use either for traceability or for sustainability reporting. And I can say that, for example, the PEF that is, again, let's say promoted by the European Commission, the PEF is kind of a model that you can refer to in order to report the sustainability profile of a product. And we can say that the DPP can be designed in order to be compliant with the PEF. Okay, so the PEF gives you the schema in order to report the impacts. The DPP can be designed in order to collect the right data to report the actual impacts of the products. Other certifications, type 1, type 2, type 3, type 1 and type 3 especially, they are good inspirations in order to identify which are the data that you have to collect from the different stages in order to report in a standardized way the sustainability profile of the product. Here I also put a digital link, so the possible QR codes of tools or IT tools that you can use in order to identify where the product is in a given stage and register, combine, let's say, the identificator of the product with the digital twin of the product. Okay, the digital version of the product where the passport is registered. And then you have, in the last examples, are two already in place DPPs, but established for two different sectors. So batteries and buildings, they are really different in terms of specificity and requirements from the fashion industry, but they are already used by some of the companies. Okay, this one I will skip. Okay. What is the status? At the moment, they are using and experiencing about the DPP. They are, meaning the European Commission mainly, they are experiencing through working plans, pilot projects. The three target sectors, first primary sectors are textiles, electronics, and batteries. And you have an example for the batteries in the previous slide mentioned. And then the DPP becomes mandatory also in the textile industry starting from either 2027 or 2028. And then there's the plan to expand the same approach to other sectors, to almost all the other sectors. Here I mentioned some of the possible available solutions because already in the market you have IT tools or pilots that refer to the DPP schema, let's say, and they are experiencing or showcasing some possibilities about the usage of DPP in given sectors. Here are just few of them because I also saw several other initiatives around Europe in several other sectors. Okay, I already said about this. What are the expected impacts? There are several. The one that I mentioned before, improved circularity, extended life, reduced possibility of impacting and so on. So you have as much as you know, the larger is the amount of data that you have about the product, the higher is the improvement that you may expect to achieve. For sure, there are several challenges of implementation, especially related to IT availability in entire suppliers, because it is mandatory to have someone registering the data even if you are in Asia or in Far East. Okay, my question to you, in referring to my stairway to heaven, to my different stages towards sustainability, where would you place the DPP? How can you see it? What is it useful for? You don't like the stairway, I don't know. Is it something completely outside? Is it something that is an enabler for a given step? Okay, I try to answer based on my experience. I can say that the DPP is something that allows you to move from decisions to transformation, because it allows you to monitor the data for a specific batch or a specific product, and then you are able to perform decisions. Still, it is not, it is a feeder of decisions, but it is not the decider. So it is not the tool that allows you to perform decisions. It gives you the data to perform the decision. So here I put just a picture about a project that we are running in SUPSI. And as you can see in the picture, okay, it is not that nice, but okay, here you see the digital passport that we are experiencing, we are using in different sectors. But here we have DSS, okay, this is the platform that we use in SUPSI, but there are several other platforms that allows you to compare different scenarios and identify which is the best scenario for a given product configuration. So the DPP, as you can see also in this picture, in this framework, logical framework, is an enabler for decision, but still the decision is outside the technicalities of the DPP itself. Okay, that's all from my side. I don't know if you have questions, I'm here to answer.
We do have 5 minutes for Q&A, just in case.
Hello. I have a question. Sustainability is a big topic. Another big topic for companies, regardless also the sector, is artificial intelligence. How do you see the integration of the DPP in a model using artificial intelligence, where in theory the model can help you also to make decisions? So not only to aggregate data, but to propose solutions. So I wonder how you think this can integrate. Thank you.
I try to speak out loud. No, yes. Okay, we have been using a DPP, the AI in our platform, and we are using it for two purposes. First is to automate, let's say, the creation of the model. So it means if you want to create, to derive impact, and you have the primary, secondary model, and creation of the model. So you can use the DPP that suggests, the artificial intelligence that suggests you which is the best process describing what you are actually doing. So this is the first usage that we are doing. And then the second usage that we are doing is exploring outside the box in order to investigate alternative possible scenarios that are not mapped based on the experience of the company or the technology competence of the company, but outside the box, either relying on other experiences from other entities around the world, similar sector for sure, or relying on assumptions. So it is used also to create rules based on identified patterns where the data are only, let's say, collected but without a pattern. So at the moment we are using it for these two purposes. For sure, there are also several other possible utilization of AI.
Thank you very much. One more? On the other side.
Good evening. Since we're talking about sustainability, and I guess we all know corporate sustainability is mainly based on triple bottom line, therefore the equilibrium between profit, planet, and people, I was wondering what about digital product passport, since it is essentially based on environmental performances. So my question, or better two quick questions are, do you think sooner or later social aspect will be included in this kind of passport? And if so, what kind of effect would they have on the rating of the products, since we know that also the social pillar is really key, especially lately, for fashion industry? Thank you.
Okay. Yes, I have to say that usually, well, please correct me because you are also so expert about this topic. Social impacts mainly relate to companies rather than to products. So you can, for example, perform kind of accounting of the impact of the company down to the product by dividing, I don't know, by the number of products that the company produces over the year. So my feeling is that the DPP is not the best solution that you can use in order to monitor the social impacts, because these social impacts are usually, from my point of view, more related to the company rather than to the product. So if you relate them to the product, you have to divide high impacts of the company down to the product. By the way, you can for sure create an intermediate accounting set of rules that allows you to move from the impacts of the company down to the product. And in that case, for sure, the fashion transparency index would increase really a lot, because if you monitor also the social sustainability performances of the product, then upstream, the other tiers are really forced to increase their performance. So as much as the more you monitor, the best performance you can reach, both from an environmental and from the social point of view. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Marzio. So it's now moment to welcome Heinz Zeller, Principal Sustainability from Hugo Boss. A huge round of applause for him, please.
Thank you very much. So by the way, I have also DPP in the second part, so maybe it will be interesting. I took exactly the head to put two topics on it, two hypes, AI and DPP. And the first thing is really where we think AI can make a huge difference if you look, let's say, at the landscape of laws and legislation we have. So it's really, we are surrounded by laws, by legislation, and here just a few ones which you can see. I don't go in detail because otherwise just this page would take us up tomorrow. But you can see how these laws really getting big, and honestly, no company, nobody knows what's coming, what's out there. Just Italy just now threw on the table also an eco score like France has, and we really just got it by chance. So very often is, and actually our idea is that this could be supported. So here some additional facts. I mean, this we all know, fashion is a good target for NGOs to also put on the spot. And this is just a matter that we have about 2,500 regulations on fashions. So a lot of chemicals is also in fashion, right? And you can see since 2020, the increase was about 40%. So short time, a lot of these legislations come up. And I mean, we can try to keep the EU legislations a bit under control. So a few are postponed, a few are anticipated by some countries, like the extended producer responsibility was immediately implemented in France and in Italy. Other ones are still waiting. So you see, really big topic. And as you can see, also fines are getting really important. So that's why this is something we definitely thought, let's put a project out. And as we heard before, InnoBooster was our kickoff where we said, hey, that's a great idea. And now we're going to pursue this project with the InnoSwiss. So we just launched it. The outcome is not yet clear. Also, Kalida is and some other brands. So we have a quite big support. So what's it? So what we can see definitely, there's no tailored solution. So I mean, you really need something more than just a simple algorithm that can search any web page. We have the idea, I mean, neural networks could be a great support exactly to look at the complex structure of all these laws, which all are public. That's the beauty. So the data is there, the information is there, but to find it and to identify it, to get it clear. RAG, I mean, to add it to LMM, that's you understand what's in it and you make it sensible. I said multilingual things, and that's often also a topic for the people looking at it. What is in to understand? Is it really something I have to look just to put it, to classify it? And of course, then what we have in it, that we do a fine tuning, the learning of AI is super important. And of course, then benchmarks. So there are some interesting stuff out there, by the way. There is in the UK an organization which does it now by hand. I was in a webinar and they do it now. They go through law, which they know, and put it and classify it. So we will have a nice benchmark to see for the ones that we're gonna find, are they correctly classified as this one, do it manual. You see, that's a typical setup. So I'm not the expert of AI. Probably you could do it better. You see what we want to have it. That of course we have a so-called system that looks out on the website, puts it in the documents, analyze it, and then gets it through an input, what we then can do. So just asking like you do now with ChatGPT or what else, that you put a question, and then that of course you get an answer where you can see it maybe on a specific report, which we have to identify. So we had some ideas, but that's actually our idea really to give. And by the way, also in our company, our compliance office is super interested, because again, also for them, you never know, is there somewhere around the world a new law? And like in Italy, nobody knew it. I got from a colleague a hint that, do you know, can you help me? And that I didn't know. I sent it to Metzing, which our compliance and legal office is, and also that brand new. And that's why we would really love to have such a tool in there. And again, of course, we will inform all of you if for interest how this project will go, because this will be then in about 1.5 to 2 years. A solution you can buy from the shelf. That's the idea with Antares Vision, who will be the technical implementation partner. And that's where we go. You see, that's now just a selection of laws that we have a close look, because they will be for importance of us, and I think everybody which is in fashion. And you see we have some in the EU, but you see also some in the US, some in Australia, some in Canada. And again, I mean, that's not it, but these are just the most important. And as you can see, really, that's work not only for one person, that's work for a lot. And here exactly we need a lot of inputs. Also, I'm very often asked what is the main things that we can take out of it. And you see, that's what, so we need data, and we heard it before. And we also need data that can be verified, because one thing, for example, CSRD, we have done now, I think this is the 3rd year, we have a CSRD verified report. And you know, CSRD means the data in the financial report. That is a complete different approval. This means not just like in the past, there's no evidence that it's not true. No, there is a clear evidence that what you claim is a matter of fact, like an invoice. An invoice is an invoice with the data you can find in an invoice. And this is a game changer for sustainability KPIs, because very often you have data, you have some that said that's correct, and nobody finds that's not correct, and you get it in a sustainability report approved. But here it's much, much more detailed. And you see, we need structured data, and that is a key, because data are often around, but somebody calls it like this, somebody calls it differently, somebody has it in different format. And you have data, but you don't know what the data means. Very often also the context is missing. And good data without the context, sorry to say, is even no data, because you can have misinterpretation. A vocabulary is needed. That means if I say something, I have to have a standardized phrasing. So we have some in fashion, like for example, Textile Exchange has done some work on raw materials, but that's it. And the most is just not well structured. So also there at the moment we lack. Every audit, just look once on audits. Every audit looks different. And even from the same standard, depending on the auditor, it's a different layout, and if you're lucky, also different wording. So we used robots to try to get them in our system, and we failed because it's so different. And very often, of course, you have also, let's say, different writings. So it's not always our European writings. So if you're in Greece, you already risk that you have some other writings, or of course in Asia and so on. And what is the biggest problem? Fashion is not a highly industrialized product. You have a lot of artisans, small, medium enterprises, or farmers. We all cry, we need cotton data, but there's a farmer. Go to these farmers and ask them, do you know the data structure? No, nobody knows. So we just leave them out. And now the solution, is it the DDP? Maybe, right? So the question is really, that could be really the digital product passport could be the solution, but what is it? And I will show you something similar, but a bit different. I found this nice chart, and this maybe we can then also distribute, because you can click on the different thing and you're going to find what is behind it. So you see, all this, and you study, so this came from the new legislative framework, which is now the part of which Green Deal everything is. But it goes on with the single market strategy, goes on with the competitiveness in Europe. So we want to have this data structure. It goes on simplification of paperless reporting. That should be in. Goes on with the e-commerce communication. Then you see a big topic of all what we call sustainability topics, the eco-design, chemicals, packaging, everything. Everybody says DPP is my solution. Then we have also some depending legislation, like the right to repair, which of course is a direct outcome of this. And you see we have some bigger ones. What I will show you now, you see, what you have shown is one thing. The thing is huge. It's even bigger than and I think just going through them, and the interesting thing, a lot also have interdependencies that will try to show this little thing. That's exactly what you said, is the ones that now take this DPP into a first step of a pilot. And you see, what is this topic? It's about this one. So really thinking about data structure, about how you can manipulate, how you can access data, how you can deploy it. But when I saw this, I said, what they don't care about, how you get data. Simply, they don't think of how you get data. It's clearly stated, out of scope. Out of scope. Data collection is out of scope. And everybody, and I have a background from the IT, if you don't think about data collection, where you will get your data. I'm just going to make you one example. And I mean, your fresh and transparency showed here, if you go to cotton, and everybody cries about we need cotton data, but 70% is synthetics. So where is your oil platform and how you get data from your oil platform? Don't care about this. All this through the supply chain, and the most what we have today is our primary suppliers. And now you see all this complexity. The discussion here, and that's the outcome from Surpass 2, is do we collect data at batch level or at item or model? But we don't know how to collect, but we do this discussion. And that's for me a typical sign when a lot of offices take care of a small part, but nobody looks on the total issue. And you see, that's where, honestly, the data you showed, when it should be in place, and we know PEF was also announced, and we're going to have for every green claim, we have LCA, we have everything. And what is now? PEF, silence. But PEF is the base of eco-design, and eco-design, you need to have data from simplified LCAs, which I can tell you a t-shirt, a white t-shirt will be a white t-shirt for all the companies because everything is default values. The only thing they ask, and that's the PEF study, is we want to have your raw material data, but nobody has the data. So again, you see, again, somebody has done a nice job. Everybody thinks the other one's going to solve it. But again, you see here, we build a huge complex system around DTP, but nobody asks how we get the data to feed DTP, right? This is another one. I know these guys very well, and this is huge complex. So this is ISO and UNECE CFACT. What they will do, and you see, they look at the whole system, super complex, but they will provide by the end of the year a report of all the standards they could found, because that's the base. They will look at it and report, because we need to know which standards, and not only in the EU, can be used also in the USA, because again, if you create a DPP for you, EU is nice, but if you export it to the USA and they have another standard, then again, we start from scratch, right? So this one I can, and again, it's here, you can also Google it. That's a very nice project, and also they will probably bring out by the end of the year a report of all the standards, and they are looking into harmonization. You can see it's really complex, and CFACT, most don't know it, but this is the body. By the way, it's an EU organization as well, in just harmonizing. And honestly, I think if they come up with something that is a harmonized standard around the world, hopefully we will get something, because definitely we need not one, hundreds of DPPs. And I mean, everybody can go out today and say, I have a DPP. The problem is, have your data structure that is ready for tomorrow? I think nobody can have it because we don't know yet what will be in. Everything should be in. At the moment, I don't think anything is in. So, AI, and that's really also something that you need to understand. If you want to work with AI, you need to have information, because AI without information, without data, will not give you an answer. And exactly, you need to train the AI models, right? So you will get something. And we hope, because I'm really happy that this project with compliance hopefully is getting the InnoSwiss support, and then we can also provide a tool that really makes sense, which is a support for all of us, and will also show that with data, with information, training, you get really good information out of AI. DPP, it's all about harmonization of data, and that's, I haven't seen really in the focus yet of EU, and I think this will be a key thing. And again, and that was my surprise when I listened one to it, the EU DPP started with just circular economy. That means providing data to the recycler. Now this is a big question mark, and we have seen how they opened the universe. And I think as bigger you make it, as less will be the success. So let's see if 2027 textile is really like PEF. It's gone, so nobody talks about anymore to get PEF really mandatory. Also DPP, let's see what's coming. And really important, that's my personal, so I speak to farmers. When I ask them what you know of DPP, they even don't know what it is. If I ask them, do you have any information about GS1, which is another data standard, I have no idea. So you see, if you don't get down with standards to farmers, to SME artisans, we will fail. So we need to have really something that is able, that everybody can work. And I mean, with the traceability tools around, don't think that the farmer is entering in 100 traceability tools data with the hope that tomorrow somebody will pick up the data. Just simply, they don't have the time. And this is the same around the supply chain. So as more traceability tools with not unified standards of data will be on the market, as less the chance will be that we're ever going to reach a DPP. And the final thing I already said, so it's really all about having common standards. And that's, I can't see with certification schemes, I can't see it nowhere. Everybody invents the wheel once more, instead of really finding some, let's say, best practices, which are maybe not the absolute best ones, but which are common. And that's it. By the way, this finger, I just asked, that's AI. I asked us to shake hands, and the picture at the beginning, this finger was always a robotic finger, and I told the AI guy, please make it correct. And then I had two robotics fingers at the end. I said, forget everything, make a robot saying hello to a human. And see, he made it. So just try around with AI, and you will see really we are just at the beginning. That's it. Any immediate urgent question? No.
Q&A? Questions from the audience?
Yeah, my name is Gerard Peters of Revisona Company in the textile industry, sustainability and recycling. I heard different speakers, you as well, Mr. Zeller. The main difficulty is always gathering the data. So what I have in mind since longer time is, let's assume we get everything done. All the data is there. Ideal. Then what? What do we do then? Because that is the totally missing link. We have been working on a different system, but DPP is also an answer, but it's an answer to recycling. And we don't go into such a depth as you have indicated, or your colleagues here, which is all fine, which is good, which is necessary, etc. But I think we are just shooting past the actual targets. And one of the main things is also, I think you are German, the German government has just stepped down on the supply chain legislation. Yeah, so everything is going down, down, down. In addition, the number of laws are also increasing, also what you indicated. So I think what we are doing, also what you have indicated in your graphs, it's too much data. Even if we get all the data, we still know nothing, because there is no change connected to it. When we have it, what do we do next? And I also agree, what do we do with the social indicators, etc. But why do we do these kind of things?
I can answer to this. So it's also a nonsense, and I stated clearly that we think we need data for action. Climate change, we know exactly what to do. So we do not need additional data. We probably need to know where we have to implement it, but the data are there. Socials, since yes, we know what we need to do. So also there, I think the data is not needed for now acting. That's one thing. The other thing is, and that's really when it comes to a few things which people think we're going to solve our problems. The discussion, and I had it before with somebody, is about, I mean, we are flooded with cheap plastic fashion, right? To say it very open and transparent. Recycling. The problem is not that our goods can be recycled, but we just a drop on a hot stone. So if our clothes go into a recycler, he hardly going to find it because it will be 1 out of 1,000. And he has to throw away 1,000 because he cannot use it, because the quality is so bad that you can't recycle. Then it's another thing, also recycling. If you recycle cotton, just to make you one thing clear, is you get a quality from the cotton which you're going to make a t-shirt that you're going to throw away after a short time because the fiber is so short. So again, you see, the problem is not that we don't need data. The problem is not that we need recycling. The problem is simply we produce too much very cheap, very crappy stuff which you can't repair, you can't recycle, and the only thing is landfill. And again, I mean, we stand here, and a few colleagues are here with a name, with a brand name you know, but our share is so. And that's exactly the problem we are in, that we always look at things that are not the solution. The solutions, everybody knows, buy less but better, full stop. That would be our solution for sustainability. No data needed, as simple.
Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on to the first training speaker. Oh, thank you. Please welcome Coti Monique Geronimus from Calida.
Thank you. I will stand here. Up. Okay, so this I need to point there now.
Towards the bottom of the room.
To there. Okay, yeah. So thanks for having me, and following up on Hugo Boss on presentation from Heinz. Thank you, who showed that. Who explained more about DPP, and also that you don't need data, and we all know that we need to buy less, but unfortunately, in some levels of the company, degrowth is maybe not accepted. So that is the big problem for sustainability persons. So my focus is on the gap between innovation and reality. As you heard, regulations are rising. We have a lot of digital tools, and customers are asking for more transparency besides the upcoming DPP, with, for example, France as one of the front runners under the AJAC law. So today it's all about how we turn that gap into progress with collaboration internally, also externally, and technology that will serve the consumer needs and also support compliance. So, here, huh? Yes, who's no, sorry, up. Here, one. No, sorry, huh? Yes. Okay, so as you heard, as you saw, we really operate in a completely different landscape as 5 or 10 years ago. Okay, there are a lot of regulations: CSRD, CSDDD, eco-design, DPP. It's not an abstract term anymore. They shape also the budgets in a company, and especially the budgets on product development, and also material choices and market access. Because as a brand, we have our B2B and marketplace clients who are also under these regulations, and they are also asking for disclosures. So at the same time, technology is accelerating. You heard about AI, digital passport, blockchain, traceability, and all these systems are cleaning the data. So customers are asking, where What is it made from? Where does it come from? Should I trust it? And that is where indeed DPP comes in. And in a certain way, as what you heard also from Heinz, the ECO score in France and Italy also put it on the table, but it's still not decided. They are discussing the law, but we will have some more time. So alongside all this, regulation is really becoming a defining force. I think that CSRD, for the brands who are falling under it, it pushes forward, because as a brand, you need to implement policies. Big brands like Hugo Boss are already prepared. Smaller brands like the brand I'm working for, which is a medium-sized brand, we are also preparing for it. And we really need to have this auditable data, because that is the thing. As while 5 or 10 years ago, you could say, we have organic cotton. Today, you need to have the documentations. You need to be able to prove that what you claim is true. So that said, I hope this is the, no, I think I didn't find the good angle. Oops. Yeah, you need to push in a very... Okay, you can say next and I will call it. Yes, so good. So reality track is that every brand, also you start with gaps, right? You always find the same pattern. So you miss data. That's also what Heinz showed. There is unclear governance, who is handling what, and inconsistent certification. For example, you think you buy organic cotton, but you're not sure it sits in your project, in your final product, because you don't go to the end certification. Supplier information, which is sitting in a lot of different emails or PDFs. So it's really difficult to have all this in one place. So there is another kind of gap. The gap between what the technology promises and what company can realistically implement with their existing process and resources, because also that, you heard, it's not one person who can make that happen, unfortunately. So, so the real risk is not only having the gaps, it's pretending they are not existing. That is what you need to understand, that you have gaps. So you need to say, okay, let's map what is real, where are our gaps. Even if it's imperfect, we are going to change them, and to really to be honest and to work on these gaps. So what makes ESG scalable? It's really cross-functional collaboration. That will bring speed. That is something which at Calida we are really working, like ESG is not a department at its own. We are really having a huge internal stakeholder collaboration. And that is very, very important, because sourcing knows where the suppliers and how they can adapt, which supplier can adapt. Financial understands the risk and the costs normally. And IT can automate this data flow. So all this together will help ESG to become lighter when it is shared among the company. So when these pieces align, innovation like DPP or traceability stops being a burden, and it becomes a system upgrade. So data as a backbone, as we saw in the earlier presentation, is very, very important. It starts on reliable data. As you heard also, data is everywhere, but like the data we are collecting, we cannot collect everything. It goes from step by step. Of course, we know our tier 1 suppliers, we know a lot of our tier 2 suppliers, but there's a big part we don't know, which is the whole supply chain. So Heinz has the the possibility to meet farmers. I also met some farmers who also don't know. They are more, I would say they are more interested in their soil than in the traceability of their cotton. But step by step, if we want to be compliant with upcoming regulation, and also for the moment, it's not really clear what will be required under DPP. We know it's on a very high level, but we're still waiting. And under the AJAC law, for the moment, only what we need to disclose is manufacturing and dyeing and knitting. So it's still, it's not a full supply chain, but data is, I would say, very important, especially to go back to farm level, because that will help you to through scenario analysis to reduce your impact. Of course, knowing that there is a lot of secondary data, but your objective should be to go to more primary data, and only in that case you can reduce your impact, because that is what is asking. Of course, buy less. That is what we should do. But also, if you speak to CSUD, degrowth is not something they want to hear. So at Calida, we use a tool. We use a decarbonation tool where we calculate our scope 1, 2, and 3. Indeed, as what you saw in the first presentation, scope 1 and 2 for us is only 3%, while most of the parts sit in scope 3. And we also use a product LCA tool where we have a big part of primary data, and we're now working to get the secondary data, as I said, step by step, more primary. And we also use this tool for eco-design, where our designers are implemented, and that's all about this collaboration. Designers are implemented to check what would be the best material, what will reduce the impact, but that's only possible when there are targets set and where a policy is in place. So, as a practical example, it is also important, apart from the data, is really to, and that goes also to the social part, to work with suppliers that are at a lower risk, I would say. So it's not only about environmental data, CO2 footprint, it's also about social data. So, and the whole certification pathway, which is important to add on this data. So, since for the DPP and also for the AJAC, there is a much more requirement than only tier 1. In the beginning, at Calida, we were tracing our supply chain manually. So that was a no-go, especially since we have a very small department. So, and also going back to regulations, the fact is that it also is linked to marketing. Because if you make nice marketing claims and you don't know your supply chain, you don't know if the wool you're selling is animal-friendly managed, you really need to work with low-risk suppliers, and you need to know your supply chain. So we acquired another tool, which is mainly a supply chain mapping tool, where we also do supply chain or supplier risk management. We do CAPA management, and like supplier risk on a supplier level and on a country level, where we can store all the certifications. So that is something which then we link to our CO2 or our decarbonization tool. So in that way, at Calida, we try to cover both social and environmental, and then bring it to a next level to be able to reduce our impact. So, yeah, business meets sustainability. Indeed, I would say ESG drives market access. Again, it's because as a brand, we're not directly selling to end consumers. We're also selling to marketplaces and to B2B customers. While you can say today, end consumers are maybe a little bit less focused on sustainability, not as much anymore as 5 years or during COVID. However, the big marketplaces like Zalando, Otto Group, they are really driven by ESG. They're more, if you go as a brand through their business contracts, everything what they're asking, it is really ESG driven. So that is why ESG is also linked to finance, and even if as a smaller brand, because Hugo Boss is a big brand, but Kalida is much smaller. If we would fall out of CSRD, or the group at least, depending on what the EU will decide, then we still need to follow what our clients are asking. So it's, yeah, it's ESG is really something which is an it will help the business to win, and if ESG fails, then the business will fail too. Longevity, quality and longevity, that is really a strategic asset for Kalida, and that goes also back to the fact that buy less and have it longer, because quality and longevity are very, very powerful sustainability levers. A well-made product will stay longer, it lives longer, needs fewer replacements, and that reduces the overall impact. So it becomes really important because it influences the use phase of a product, and the time you wear it is and you care for it. So also how longer you will wear the product, the lower the footprint comes. So that is already included in the current methodologies. Like France, they are using a methodology which is called ADAM, and in the EcoScore, durability topics are used for the calculation, and the same for the moment. The EU requires still the PEF-CR. Also in there, durability is used, durability topics are used to calculate the CO2 footprint of a product. So, and there, for example, a brand needs to be able to prove that they did specific tests, ISO-based test on durability. So, that said, our roadmap, Kalida, the brand I'm working for, so I started working for them 2 years ago. 2025 was really about data, governance, going more and more into detail, and this will go on at least till 2030, because collecting data or making your supply chain transparent takes a long time. You really need to dive in it, and that is also why we are working with tools. And again, it is there are different tools. It really depends what is the best for your company. We choose 2 specific tools because they fit better to Kalida, but I would say it's a jungle, so you really need to assess in a very good way what is the best for you. 2026 will, for Kalida, is the CSRD and DPP architecture, so it can be that on a group level we will be out of CSRD, but as I said, our clients are in, so we need to be compliant in a certain way. And then we go to implementing and scaling. So that is how we are working on it. And then as a closure, I would say that innovation must serve reality. This is backed by a lot of tech tools we have today, also driven by AI, because it's there, and it really reduces also our time, and it will help us, especially in the program where Khalida is also a member of, on the regulations, because frankly speaking, it's not possible to check every day what is upcoming. And also for me, the Italian new Italian outcome, I found it because I was scrolling on my phone on LinkedIn, and I was like, oh, what the hell, what's happening here? So are we in scope? Are we not in scope? So yeah, that is really a very topic. And then yeah, so 2 questions is, does this technology help our customer to understand and trust our products? I think yes, this technology will help our customer, and it will be also more visible how a product is made, because today it is a gray or a black box, and I would hope that with this information on a product, a customer will make more sustainable choices and not buy any ultra fast fashion brand anymore, because it comes closer to your house. Well, if you don't know it, you don't mind if it's made by a child in whatever country who is working there. So in that case, yes, I would say yes. And the second one is, does it support the brand in demonstrating compliance and clearly efficiency? I also think there, yes. So that are really 2 key questions which we answered ourselves, we ask ourselves, and for us the answer is yes. So if the answer is yes, then you're not adding any complexity. It's you're moving from your gaps to goals, because the goals is to achieve that, and with you moving with purpose and momentum. Thank you.
So we have time for 1 question from the audience.
Yeah, very good question. So, as I said, it will be much more visible what is behind the product. So I would hope a consumer would be much more conscious. But of course, I looked at the huge queue in nearby BHV in Paris lately, when I heard people speaking. Yeah, but I don't have the money to buy Nike shoes, so I go here and I buy this. So they know how it's made. So there will always be people who will buy on a very low price level. I think that will go on, but at least it will be transparent. The data is used to make a product more transparent. So I would hope there would be a shift of this middle level of people who are maybe not so conscious, but still would like to buy better. So if we are able to achieve already that, that would be great.
Thank you. So, thank you. So we're now stepping a little bit away from the fashion industry, and we're landing in the hard luxury and watches industry. So join me welcoming Antonio Puntello, VP, Global Sustainability at Timex Group.
Thank you very much. Grazie Michele. So this one. So I will try to give you some example of what we did in a Times Group, real concrete example, just to change a little bit, let's say, data are really important for us, also to answer to some question that we heard before. I want to try to answer to your question also during the speech. So who is Timex? Timex, let's say, very 2 seconds on this. We do watches. We do watches since 1854. So we passed 170 years 2 years ago. We recently acquired a new brand, Daniel Wellington. During these 170 years, the company transformed and changed a lot. Now we have, let's say, our own brand, Timex and Daniel Wellington, but we also do watches for license. So we have Versace, Ferragamo, Guess, Adidas, so let's say many brands. In the past, the company did a lot of things. We did the Sinclair, probably you know, some of you know what it is one of the first personal computer. We did Polaroid in our factory in the Philippines. So we did a lot of things, but let's say our focus now is watches. And since 3 years, we also started our journey into sustainability. This is very quickly who we are. Let's say these are the brands, Timex, Versace, Guess, Philip Line, GC, Guess, Aston Martin, Furla, and Daniel Wellington. We are spread around the world. We are around 2,300 in 26 locations with 3 production sites mainly. The one in Switzerland is doing Swiss-made products for Ferragamo and Versace, a little bit of Timex and Philip Line. The other brands are produced in our factory or in India or in Cebu in the Philippines. This is our, let's say, first year. No, this is already the second year analysis. So we complete our second greenhouse gas emission calculation. And let's say our intent in making this exercise is really to take decision with the data in front of us. So the answer for me is not getting data to claim this data to consumer, but is really getting data to move the company in the right direction, to decide which are the priority, where we have to take. It's also true, as Hans said, that we know already. But in the company, not data help in moving and start projects. And after we will see after what we did in these 2 years. Another thing that is really important is also for a company that is a profit company. We need always to take this double, let's say, gain. So we need to move and start from projects that give profitability to the company, but also give, let's say, additional sustainability, let's say, gain to the company. Without both is more difficult. Should happen, but considering that we start very, let's say, 2 years ago in this journey, there are still a lot of opportunity where we can both gain from an economic point of view and from a sustainability point of view. And when I talk about economic value, is not only economic for us, but for the communities around us. And I will give you an example. So the first example that I will give you is on a circular economy, and the second will be on packaging transformation. The third thing that I wanted to talk today is about governance. We heard, and let's say, sharing into the organization the knowledge of sustainability helps in speed up the process. In my opinion, is really helping creating the culture into the company. So without having, let's say, the entire company on the same, let's say, knowledge, with the same, let's say, goals, and also trust in the goals, the goals will never be achievable. On the other side, I also trust that building the culture into the company helps around us, because our employees are also customers for other companies. So in reality, creating the culture inside is also helping us and other companies. Going back to circular economy, let's see if this video starts. There should be a sound, but I don't know. Let's say this is what we launched a couple of years ago. Is a circular classic take-back program that we launched in North America only, and I will explain you later why. So basically, we ask to everybody to send us a product back. Watches are durable product, so you can take forever. You change the battery, you change the strap if it's a leather strap, and you can give to your children. The children could give to their children too. So it's quite easy to give second life to products. But many people are left in this product into the wardrobe, so they stay there, and sometimes goes to landfill. It's a durable product that goes to landfill. So the idea was, okay, let's ask this product to go back. And after we found a partner, and this is why I said before that it's not an economic value for us, but is for the community. This company is taking this product back, that they check it. If it's very simple to be repaired, they change the battery and they change the strap if needed, and they put it into a platform that is, let's say, a mix brand, Timex and Revund. The Revund is the name of the project, and the company is called Recircled, and this company is selling. So the point is that here in the picture you see also product that is not only Timex product. We ask to return whatever you have in your wardrobe. Any watch that is, let's say, back in your wardrobe for many years, you can send it back. The company will take care to refurbish and put and give them a second option. If the product is not sellable and it's not possible to be repaired, we establish a proper recycling process. So the product is disassembled in metal, leather, plastic, glass, metal, batteries, and each material has his own proper disposal line. So I think this is a good example. Timex Group is not gaining any, because we are taking the cost of the shipment. We are taking a few cents of the sale to cover the cost of the shipment, and the rest is given to the company that is doing this service for us. There is a cost behind for the company because they have to take the picture, they have to refurbish, but I think it's a decent. So the issue is we haven't found yet partners to do this around the world. So this is something that could be done, let's say, in a surface that is not worldwide. We can't take product from China and send it to Nebraska, where this company is, to refurbish the product and put it on the platform. We need to find local partners to expand this process around the world. It's not simple. So the point is we can spread this value around, but as of now, we don't have enough partner to cover the entire network. Talking about data, and this is the introduction to the second project, is this is what I think is really, let's say, important. So data collection, we know. We have different sources of data, ERP system, dedicated system, primary data from the supplier. I think these data are available. Let's say there are. You need only to ask and found and to store this data. The second step is the verification of this data. So as we said, data to be used should be verified. My personal opinion is that in the future, but is already starting, data about sustainability should be, and CSRD is helping, and your answer said exactly the same, should be equal to financial data. We take decision with, let's say, data about finance. We have to take decision about data related to sustainability. If the data of sustainability has the same value of the economic data, we can take good decisions. we should have a standardized process to analyze this data. So there are LCA that are standardized under the ISO. There are, let's say, many different methodologies that could help us in making this scientific analysis. And the next step is, let's say, continuous improvement. We learned after 3 years that the first data collection is not perfect. The second is better than the first. The third will be better than the second. So this is a constant refinement into the quality of the data. Last, the things that we explain. So the idea is try to organize sustainability in a different way. So we have seen many times, let's say, sustainability teams like finance team. Everybody hate finance team. Everybody hate in the past sustainability teams. The idea is try to build sustainability from the different areas. So we have, I'm alone in sustainability. We are 2,300, but I have 66 colleagues working with me regularly on all the different functions for all the different brands, and they help me in collecting the data, analyzing the data, and start the project that we have seen before. What's the benefit? So what I said already before, so operational integration, so let's say is not managed separately, is not done in a coercive way, so people are doing things without asking them to do things. There is an evolution of the culture, internal and external. We generate, let's say, there is a shared generation value because, let's say, we found colleagues that are open to move into a new project because they are all set on the same target. And there is also, let's say, is not, let's say, the projects are really done by them. So when we are achieving a goal, when we are changing a product, when we are changing, when we are moving from air transportation to sea transportation, this achievement is done by the logistic person. It's not done by the sustainability manager or leader. They say the things that I have already told you. I think also that this kind of, let's say, approach is also helping outside of the company. It's not only something that happens inside. That's it. Thank you very much. If there is any question, yeah.
Because otherwise from home then.
So when you show the reuse, rewind,
Sì.
okay.
It's difficult to pronounce.
Yes, rewind, whatever. Yeah. In the case the watch is not working, you will recycle. Yeah. But I think this is a very expensive part. Not so expensive?
Not so expensive.
Because you have to disassemble, separate the component. It's not so expensive.
No, it's not so expensive. So the leather, the strap, or the metal. So in the moment you open the watch, there is the movement that is, let's say, an electronic device and goes with an electronic device disposal. You take out the battery, and after you have metal and glass. So there are some other little element, the O-rings, but are, let's say, is a 30-second, 1 minute, let's say, work for a person.
So it's not affecting the mechanical watches. It's just the electric one.
No, it's also for mechanical watches. Absolutely. If it's coming back a mechanical watch that is not possible to be let's say refurbished, we disassemble metal with metal, plastic with plastic, and leather with leather. It's not so complex.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So last but not least, we have a perspective. We managed to involve also another industry. So we have a perspective from the design industry on sustainability. Moreno, please join me from Brugnotto Group.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon to everyone. And I would like to thank you, Dagorà, to having me here today. And also I would like to thank to thank all the speakers before me, because I really got interesting and important information also to develop our own company. And I would like to join with you the presentation of what we do in terms of sustainability. So we are a company, we are based in Treviso, so northern east part of Italy. We are a producing company of furniture related to the world of fashion. So we produce furniture for your shops, your boutique, and your presentation offline, of course, of your products. So we try to follow all your aspects under the point of view of the manufacturing of furniture by real, because I would like to give you a case study also for the student here together with us, a case study of what from our point of view really means sustainability by real, touching by hand, okay? So what we do, so a very brief introduction. So we produce furniture in different ways. So for contract vision, so hotellerie, restaurant, residential, offices, for displays, so for company. It can be fashion, it can be jewelry, it can be eyeglasses. So displays for visual merchandising, communication, shop windows. We do also furniture for house, so for decoration, for creating a very nice atmosphere in the places where you live. And we create also furniture for shop windows, so shop fitting with a responsible point of view in producing furniture. We have a dualism between hand manufacturing and also very high digitalized manufacturing. So the one is, you know, classic, is romantic, is culture, is quality also. The second one is very close to the aspect the speaker before me speak about. So very high technology, very high quantity of data on how many pieces done by second, how much energy we consume per piece produced. So also that means carbon footprint. And this process is fully technological, since we try to avoid as much as waste as possible, and also our waste are recycled again to reproduce raw material such as paneling to reproduce furniture as well. Another aspect is that we try to avoid as much as possible overproduction. So also Professor Marzio before spoke about overproduction. No? So with this kind of production facilities, we try to avoid as much as possible overproduction, and we produce when it is necessary and what it is necessary, fully customized. So our sustainable approach is modern, responsible, and of a woodworking company. We optimize every stage of our process by recovering panel processing, so from paneling, and transforming into new panels. So what we waste, we reuse to make again paneling. Another point of view is all the sustainable material, not only the raw material, but also our certification. So we are a transformer of FSC material into an FSC product for you consumer. So we can give you this, how to say, responsible transformation of what we do. And also, of course, our company is certified ISO 14001. That means an environmental management system of the entire process of production. From lacquering, for example, we lacquer our furniture where necessary with water-based material, not solvent, not alcohol-free. So all this process is very followed with accuracy. Our company is also fully covered. We're speaking about more than 50,000 square meters of paneling, solar paneling. We produce about 2 megawatt per day of energy, and this is quite huge considering we are a very high consumer of energy. Of course, we have all the production to feed, but this can grant us in a sunny day more or less 70–80% of coverage of energy consumption, and it is quite enough. I would like to give you some example of what for us means sustainability under the product point of view. So here together with me we have our Bellin Boosty, is the name of the boosters we designed some years ago, but is very how to say, technologically advanced, but also material advanced. I would like to give you an example. This is a head done by Carton, FSC and PFC certified. Is not glued, but is fixed with some metallic clips. Only the covering top is glued with the most sustainable glue possible. And we use this, we propose this to the fashion retail world, because it's, you can see it's almost totally sustainable from the paper point of view to the metal and the basement itself. So it's fully, how to say, going down with your requirement and the latest requirement in sustainability approach. There are different shapes. Of course, we have the design point of view of things, so we try to play with all the shape possible, all the finishing possible. This is an example of the collaboration also with Dagorà, where we have realized for OGAT, so a member of Dagorà group, where OGAT has more or less our similar to our philosophy. So they produce clothes when necessary by order, and we produce the supporting for the clothes when necessary by order, customized also. Another example, another case study. We have realized this corner for a very important perfumery brand, Italian brand in Harrods. So we are in the green zone in London. So very difficult to reach with a normal truck. So we manage all the delivery, all the shipment of this material. So by fully ecological and fully electrified vehicles from our companies to the heart of London. This is another example of what we do. So we do this kind of stuff, this kind of fittings, fully customized. In this case, this is an example of a brand we are working with, Luca Faloni. It's a very high-end brand of clothes for men. We have done different stores, in particular also Zurich in Swiss. What is important here is that they ask a fully, really fully eco-sustainable approach, and we give them also the certification of the material, the origin, everything what comes from our production, because they enter in building with BREEAM certification. So all the stuff inside that building needs to fulfill specific certification. Another important aspect, we were speaking before about packaging. Also packaging, and I would like to say mainly packaging, is our focus, because when we ship our stuff needs to arrive on time, of course, but also safe. And what to do with the packaging when the box is open and you have to dispose all the stuff. We use, carton mainly, so we don't use any kind of plastic. And if necessary, we also use, if you want to share, this biodegradable and eco-sustainable chips to prevent from any scratches, to prevent from any damages. Think about shipping in the US, I don't know, a glass case, for example, or a ceramic top of a table. It can break very easily. So we try to reduce as much as possible we can say, reaching the 0 point, the use of plastic and use as much as possible recyclable material. So with this, my brief presentation is closed, and I'm here if you need some kind of information.
Any questions? Yes, please. Will you please introduce yourself as well? Thank you.
Hello, thank you first of all for the presentation. I'm Luca Napodano. I'm a Director of Supply Chain Industrial Sector. So my question is, I see several initiatives, and I guess in some cases you could have higher costs, in some not, I guess, when it's circular, but others with different type of solutions could bring higher costs. Because when we talk about sustainability for a company, what is important is to have value, so to bring value, no? Besides the fact of the respect on the environment and so on. So my question is, how you were able to put together these two, so to not to increase cost, on how the market appreciated this initiatives and therefore brought more value, no? So how you were able to manage these two elements?
It's a double, how to say, a double way. So in one side, we try to go in the highest possible quality market in order to give also our best service possible. So also the customer we speak with are how to say, waiting for this, and they are attending for this. So they know and they ask for this. And so speaking about this, price is not the very first aspect that they ask, but they try to think about quality, service, and of course, design first. The second one, we can say that is a sort of circular process, because the faster we are in producing, the less we consume, the faster we are in delivery, for example, and the less the product finally could cost. The fact that we have done, okay, the investment in the solar panel, from one side is an investment, very huge for a company like us, but on the other side can help us in reducing the energy costs that year per year are going up. And this is part of the entire cycle, and also every single employee of our company, like we spoke before, are in some ways learn about giving a little bit more attention on what we are doing, turning off the compressor, for example, that is going too much for too long with the total power, for example. So it's a day-by-day process. It's not today and tomorrow we are the best in the world, but it's a process day by day that we try to achieve and to develop every day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one question about the EUDR, so the deforestation, which is now shifted. How does this impact a company like you? Because your part, is it through certification, like you have FSC, or how can you easily cope with such quite impacting for you with wood?
Yeah, right? Of course, our raw material is not properly wood, because we have this duality. We work with bulk wood, and also we work with the paneling wood. Regarding bulk wood, I have to be honest, is less and less required in the market, so also for this aspect. By the way, when it is asked by the architect, by the format, by the brand itself, because it's also that part of the, how to say, the box, no? We have to, because we are FSC certified, we have to use material coming from responsible managed forest, okay, in Europe. And also another aspect, all our supply chain is all around us. So we don't have any properties or other kind of company out of our 100 kilometers from the headquarters. The other aspect, paneling, we can say that our transformation capability is about 98%. I want to be honest with you, circular. Because from paneling, from the old furniture, there are companies, not us, but because we buy from those companies the panel already done. There are companies, how to say, smashing and recreating the paneling from old furniture. We transform them, and the waste we do, they re-keep back to redo paneling another time. Okay, so it's like when we were speaking before, probably when you do the pasta, no, at your home, you have a little bit more pasta on the side, and you reuse again to make the same cake. So we can say that is almost circular.